It's time for the whole 9 yards. Hello again, everyone. I'm Ralph Ventre, and I am fired up and ready to go. Autumn has officially arrived. The heart of the FCS schedule is upon us. It's week 6, 6 teams in action, 2 conference games, 2 non-league matchups. Let's get right to work in our opening drive. The Steel City will host both Northeast Conference contests on the Week 6 docket. First, let's take a look at the matchup on Rooney Field, Bryant at Duquesne. Both teams coming off a bye week. Duquesne was last in action at Hawaii. The Dukes jumped out to a 14-0 first quarter lead. They fell 42-21, but a lot of positive takeaways from the trip out west. They finished non-conference play at 3-2. Their only 2 losses were to FBS teams. Now they're back on the mainland, well-rested, and ready to dive right into the Northeast Conference schedule. On the other side, Bryant went into its bye week after securing a 49-46 win over Robert Morris in what was the NEC opener for both teams. Playing on its home field, the Bulldogs' offense was tough to stop once again, put up over 500 yards against Robert Morris. They continued to lead the Northeast Conference in scoring and total offense. Both teams certainly have plenty of offensive firepower. They can pile up the points, but each side also features an elite defender. Bryant linebacker Thomas Costigan, the reigning NEC Defensive Player of the Year, he currently leads the circuit in tackling. On the other side, Duquesne veteran linebacker Brett Zanato is currently 4th on the NEC leaderboard in tackles per game. One more factor to keep in mind about this enticing NEC matchup: the Bulldogs have a long bus trip from Rhode Island out to Western Pennsylvania. They'll break the trip up over a 2-day span. Coach Perry doesn't necessarily see the long trip as an obstacle.
Kind of a good thing for us because, you know, we coach guys who love being around each other. It's a long time on a bus together, but that's kind of like a bonding experience for us. And then you get an opportunity to practice on the road. This year we're going to go to Lock Haven, which will be a lot of fun. See a different school, get on their grass. There's some things that, you know, as a head coach, I'll be nervous about, but I think the kids really embrace it. More time around each other, more time to kind of soak in football, and then, you know, for us, we'll have this great challenge of playing a terrific team.
Now over to Moon Township, where the aforementioned Robert Morris Colonials will host defending NEC champion Central Connecticut. It's a battle of the NEC preseason favorite against a program with a first-year head coach looking to build a culture. One immediate result of Bernard Clark's coaching tenure at Robert Morris has been an increase in offensive production. The Colonial scoring has gone way up. The 46 points scored in the NEC opener at Bryant was the most the team had scored in nearly 5 seasons. They've already eclipsed last year's team total for offensive touchdowns. They already have 8 rushing touchdowns this year compared to 11 total touchdowns for last year's squad. One thing that aided RMU's offensive production in the game at Bryant was the emergence of a rushing attack. Rookie Elijah Jackson carried 27 times for 109 yards and 2 touchdowns. He was RMU's first 100-yard rushing performer in nearly 4 seasons. Now he'll go up against a CCSU defense that ranks 2nd in the NEC against the run. The Blue Devils allowing opposing ball carriers only 3.8 yards per carry. And on offense, CCSU can run it effectively as well. They lead the NEC with 10 rushing touchdowns thus far this season. CCSU at Robert Morris, live on NEC Front Row. Now to the two non-conference matchups on the Week 6 docket. Wagner will visit a Big South member for the second week in a row. The Seahawks put up 47 points in a wild shootout against Monmouth at the Jersey Shore in Week 5. The 47 points represented the highest single-game scoring output in head coach Jason Hoteling's Wagner tenure. Now, slow starts have not been a problem for Wagner this season. We'll talk a little bit more about that later in the show. In fact, just this past week, Wagner jumped out to a 21-2 lead on the road at Monmouth. But this week, Jason Hoteling is not only looking for a fast start, he wants a strong finish at Campbell.
We're starting faster. It's just now, the second part of that phrase, finish strong. We just haven't finished the way we need to finish, obviously. So that's whether that's finished in the first half, which we've had a couple issues there. Montana State got us at the end of the first half. Sacred Heart got us at the end of the first half. Now, I will say this past week against Monmouth, we scored with, 10 seconds left or something like that. So we finished the first half last week.
Campbell, which is 4-1 and will play its fourth consecutive home game against Wagner, is a team that's allowing more than 165 rush yards per contest. This could bode well for the Seahawks' rushing attack, which features Ryan Folse, a top 5 rusher in the FCS. Wagner did throw a school record 6 touchdown passes in last week's setback at Monmouth, but that shouldn't deter them from trying to establish the run on the road at Campbell. Sacred Heart will face an Ivy League member for the second straight week. The Pioneers were 3-0 heading into last week's bout at Cornell. They left Ithaca, New York, empty-handed. The Pioneers actually outgained the Big Red in last week's loss, but they suffered the negative effects of a -3 turnover differential. It was the first time all season Sacred Heart had lost the turnover battle. In fact, the Pioneers committed a total of only 3 turnovers in the season's first 3 games. Head coach Mark Nofri knows how important it is to take care of the football.
It's no secret if you're on the plus side of the turnover battle, chances are you're going to win 75% of the time. And, we go back and I looked at it in the offseason. We had 4 consecutive winning seasons, and every year we were plus in the turnover battle. Last year we, stumbled a little bit. We were 4-7, and we were in the negative on the turnover battle. So if you're creating turnovers and protecting the ball, it gives yourself a huge possibility of winning the game, and the chances go, they skyrocket.
So it's Sacred Heart looking to get back on track. The Quakers have a run-heavy offensive attack. The Pioneers have the top-ranked defense in the Northeast Conference. Time to check in on the NEC stock market. Let's see whose value is on the way up. Now, it can't be easy trying to replace the NEC Offensive Player of the Year, but Duquesne's Daniel Parr is doing quite all right in that endeavor. The Florida Atlantic transfer has settled in nicely to Duquesne's starting quarterback position. He had a tough test in Week 0 at FBS member UMass. He was picked off 3 times that game, but in the 4 games since the opener, he has thrown 8 touchdown passes to only 2 interceptions. Parr, who has led Duquesne to a 3-0 record against non-FBS opponents, currently sits atop the NEC leaderboard in passer efficiency rating, 150.7. Daniel Parr, he's the new guy on the bluff, and his stock is on the way up. I'm calling my Twitter timeout as I take a look at the tweet sheet. We're keeping the focus on the quarterback position in this one, as you see a tweet from Football Game Plan. Emery Hunt and Football Game Plan cover all levels of football, a specific focus on the football championship subdivision. And as you can see, Emery is quite impressed with CCSU senior signal caller Jacob Dolegala, the preseason All-NEC quarterback who gained starting experience as early as his freshman season, has developed into one of the conference's elite passers. He spreads the ball around the field. Last week, he connected with 8 different receivers in a setback at Lafayette. He's also somewhat deceptively mobile. In fact, in last week's game at Lafayette, he rushed for the game-tying touchdown with just over 2 minutes remaining. In terms of passing this season, Dolegala has 6 touchdown strikes, only 1 interception. So yeah, Jacob Dolegala has some it to his game. Blue 42, Omaha, Omaha, it's time for the NEC Audible. I promised we'd talk more about Wagner and its fast starts this season, and that's just what we're going to do. The Seahawks have scored a first-quarter touchdown in all 4 of their non-conference contests. There may be a link between the quick starts and a recent change in Wagner's game week routine.
You walk through on Thursday, and you have a practice Friday where you're running, and there's this whole big deal. Our guys make fun of us all the time. Post-activation potentiation. I really don't know what it means. It's just what our strength coach tells me. That's why we do it. I have no idea. They talk about basketball teams having a good practice the day before or even the morning of their game. They talk about sprinters the day before they have to sprint. They're not walking, they're sprinting. So, it's just one of those science deals that I have to trust a lot of other people on. But our guys loved it. We went to it last year, our last 3 games, and they just felt like they were ready to go. We started faster. Their bodies felt better. So
that's amazing, bro. What has me in a state of amazement this week? Well, it's the punt return ability of St. Francis U defensive back Nick Rinella. The Red Flash are on a bye this week, but that can't stop us from talking about the exploits of Rinella in the punt return game. In last week's win over West Virginia Wesleyan, he recorded his 2nd punt return touchdown of the season. 5 returns in the game for 140 punt return yards. That is the FCS single game high this season, and it's also a Northeast Conference record. In the last 4+ seasons, Rinella is one of only 3 NEC athletes to record at least 100 punt return yards in a single game. Prior to his 140-yard performance in Week 5, no NEC returner logged more than 128 yards in a game, and that history goes all the way back to the league's inaugural season in 1996. Nick Rinella ranks 4th amongst FCS leaders in punt return average, 21.6 yards per run back. He set the NEC's single game record in Week 5. Nick Rinella, that's amazing. So that'll do it for our Week 6 edition of the Whole 9 Yards. 6 of 7 teams in action this week. Conference play kicks off in earnest. 2 matchups in the Steel City. You can see both of those on NEC Front Row. Go forth and enjoy some more football. For NEC Front Row, I'm Ralph Ventre. Thanks for watching this edition of the Whole 9 Yards.